Hey there, Boots Owen here. I'm back with this Hotpoint washing machine. Made by Whirlpool in Italy, an NSWM 1043C WUKN. Serial number and codes there. I've taken the top off to have a look inside, and I noticed down here on the tub, if we can stick our nose in here, it says 2007-22, which suggests that this machine is almost, or to the day when I found it, was almost a year from manufacture, which is a bit peculiar. Over here in the pressure switch, 120720. In here on the wiring loom, I've got 2020 as well. So it's either 3 years old, but the fact that the tub is 22 suggests that the tub has been replaced, which is quite peculiar. Looking at the springs, the suspension, they seem okay up high, so I'm going to flip it on its side and get in underneath and have a look at the suspension mounts. So in underneath it's a bit darker, but if we look up here you can see a little rusty line just there, and that looks like a crack to me on each side, which suggests that putting a beefing up plate in there would help. You can see a bit of evidence of it down there as well. Somebody said make sure the shock absorbers are tight, which they are. Those nuts are tight there and there, so everything's tight. It's just that we've got fatigue cracking here and on the other side, which is a bit of a shame really. While I'm in here I'll just check this little sump block here for any treasure. Can't feel anything. So okay, a mending plate which costs about 15 quid would fix that. Or you could just put a plate across it yourself, a piece of steel inside it. I think that would also work. Or below, I don't know. If you know, tell me in the comments, because I'm willing to try it, but I don't really care that much. The other option is to take it off and just put a big rubber washer, or just a bigger washer, in fact, around on both sides. It has something, well, just let's take it off and have a look at it. So that nut is just coming off nice and easy. M10. M6, but a 10mm head. That's a captive washer there on the nut. Let's do the same below, where I'll be able to see what I'm doing before I do it on top. So let's get that off. We can see what we're dealing with. So I said suspension before, but these are the shock absorbers. They're kind of part of the same system of suspending and shock absorbing the machine. Now this shock absorber needs to retract a bit. So there we go. Oh, it's quite stiff, which is good. Not loose. There isn't much to it really. It's got little lugs on each side, and there's a crack in the steel. So what could I do about that? Put a plate over it underneath and bolt it through. There's a limited amount of thread there to play with, so you can't make too big a thing for it really. It needs to have holes either side, and it wants to be about the full width of the metal. In fact, that metal's folded over, so I don't know if it's cracking on both sides. I don't know if you put the mounting plate below or above. Instead I would try just taking what I call mudguard washers. They're truck mudguard washers. They're really big flat washers. Putting one underneath. I'd have to drill 2 holes in it to make it fit, and put a piece of rubber packing in there as well. Might give that a go. It's a bit dark and shady down here. That's a mudguard washer. It's just bigger than a regular one. Let's mark off on it where I need to put 2 holes. So something like that, and that should do it. This is what I wind up with. Hopefully it'll fit. If it doesn't, I'll have to move it along. No, that's perfect actually. That's really perfect. I'll make a second one then. So I've got a short length of bicycle tube. Cut that in half. I'll cut it in half again. These are just making some little pads. And then I will cut a little hole in there. If I fold it over, in fact, like that, I can make a little hole for the bolt to go through. Now, do I put the rubber on top or on the bottom? What do you think? Do I put the washer on top or on the bottom? I would say sandwich it like this. Put the washer put the washer on here, put the rubber on there. So this should now pop in. There it is. Needs to come just a bit further. Hopefully I've got the thread on there and it'll draw it down now. So, will it tick in service now? I'll do the other one and we'll give it a wash. So this is the second one I've done. Just going in for a close-up look. You've got cracking running off to the left here from this hole. You've got a crack running from here up on top all the way over to here. And that's kind of glancing where the washer touches it. I've tightened them up and we'll see if it cures it. The rubber I think should help a bit, but also spreading the load out with that washer. So then, I have a 2022, potentially 2020 machine, either 1 or 3 years old, and I'm going to try something that somebody suggested, which was to put a dishwasher tablet in. I can do that, and to do what is variously called a service wash or a test wash or one of these things. Let's close that. So, Indesit LG Hotpoint Washing MA8305 commented, put it on, turn it on, hold the extra rinse button. They said if you're going to do a dishwasher tablet in it, the machine has an auto clean feature. Power it on, press and hold the extra rinse button for 6 seconds. We'll see what happens. 1, 2, 3, yeah, there it is, auto, 5, 6. It's locked and it's an hour and 10. It's going to be louder. That's pretty cool, an auto clean function. So an hour and 10 minutes. I wonder will it boil it up to some temperature. I'm happy that this machine works. You can see the dishwasher tablet in there. I'll leave it zoomed in for a moment just until it starts turning. It took about 3 minutes for it to start turning the first time, which I thought was a bit weird. But it seems to work just fine. I've just cleaned the filter and nothing. It was spotlessly clean. Nothing in it. There'll be a video about that, I'm sure. But this video kind of serves to illustrate the power of having a channel about washing machines and other things where people chime in and, you know, are interested and will try and help. Is it going to turn? You've probably read all of that label that says age 4 to 5 on it, of a pair of chopped up kids' trousers. There we go, we're off now. Okay, so a minute, 2 minutes later into this auto clean machine wash. And I don't know that I hear any ticking yet. There isn't much of a load in it. And I'm not expecting to hear any ticking. I've put a bit of cushioning in for the shock absorbers and that should be that. Although I'm fully expecting that I could hear it. While I'm standing here I can note that the tub is welded. That's some of the crusty weld that's just clicked off in my hand. The tub's welded. It's remarkably clean in here. The only thing I suggested before was that the rubber door seal was bad, but, you know, bad. How bad is bad? But if I can get this machine going, or get it to stop clicking, that'd be cool. Although then other comments, I think Ben said, just don't worry about it. It clicks, get over it. He didn't say get over it, but he just said it'll just work quite happily clicking. I imagine at some point those cracks will keep running. Cracks have this thing where the stress in a crack, once a crack has begun, the stress at the tip of the crack becomes infinite. You can prove using mathematics and theory of solids that the stress in the tip of the crack is infinite, so a crack will tend to run and just run on forever. You can imagine that in a brittle material like in your windscreen. A crack will just, if you touch it, you can kind of push the crack along if you touch the windscreen nearby. So it's worth doing something with it. I could put a drop of weld on it. I could drill a hole at the tip of the crack. That's a way of stopping them, and you might have seen that on things that are plastic and stuff. You find the end of the crack and you drill a little hole, and that eases the stress and kind of redirects it around. we've got a dishwasher tablet in here and some light laundry. I'm not expecting to see very much coming out of this, really. It's doing an auto clean wash, holding that extra rinse button there, but I'm not expecting to see very much out of it. I don't know what temperature it's getting at. Let's see if I press the button, what will it tell me? No, it's not telling me anything. There's very little water in it, I would say, but I think this machine can kind of sense how much water to put in. But the way it's spinning at the moment, maybe this is the auto clean thing, but the way it's turning at the moment, it's not agitating, it's not lifting and dropping. It's just spinning so fast that the laundry stays glued to the side. If it was a proper wash where it washes clothing, I would expect it to lift and let it fall by turning more slowly. That's what the paddles do. They lift it and then it falls off the paddles and gets washed. So maybe this is a thing that's just designed to shear the water off the drum inside to try and clear it that way. I don't know. If you know, tell me about it in the comments, because while I've made a lot of videos about these machines, sometimes I don't know very much about them, especially on more modern machines. They're somewhat bewildering to me, the technology involved. It is quite a shame. Like I noticed that metal on the bottom where that shock absorber mount came through was folded over. So it's folded over, and that means that it's double thickness, but it's still cracked, which is a bit of a shame. One of the comments, or maybe more than one, was, you know, give it a clean, wipe down, sell it for 70 quid. I wonder where the price of 70 quid came from. I have no idea what these things are worth. I picked it up off the street, and somebody was giving it away for free, basically. They'd left it outside their house for free, and I double checked to make sure, but it was in the soaking rain. It wasn't like they were trying to protect it to be collected or anything like that. You know, collected by somebody who wanted it. So at the moment it has zero value. As a 10 kilo machine, it's quite valuable, because that's kind of the maximum size. 10 kilo 1400 spin is kind of the maximum size at the moment of a washing machine. I'm sure there's other variants that are bigger, but this is kind of your typical thing. It used to be 5 kilos and 6 kilos were way out there. 5 being the max, as most of my Bosch machines would still be a 5 kilo machine. Even that massive Miele machine in the cellar, the big professional one, it's only a 6 kilo machine. The reason it's a professional is because it has 3 elements, so it can heat the water faster. So it can agitate and heat far more quickly than a regular machine. And with the sluice out feature, I guess it drains quicker too, although I haven't checked that. I don't know, I guess you could check it somehow. So here we are with this thing. It's doing alright. We're a few minutes into this auto clean cycle. I'll come back, I guess, whenever it drains out, because we should see some dirt. There shouldn't be much. The rags were cleaned in the first cycle I did in that fast wash, and maybe also in the longer wash. The cottons that was on a rapid option. I'm quite pleased with this. Out in the garden at the moment, there is another Hotpoint, similar but older, I think. There's a Hotpoint tumble dryer, there's a Miele washing machine, and a Bosch Vario Perfect. The Bosch Vario Perfect you've seen before, the Miele you've seen before, both have been in filter videos. I think the Miele had an issue where it would report that it wasn't filling fast enough, but would still wash fine, so it would have that little red tap icon displayed. Anyways, it seems that it's now broken in a different way, and I don't know what it is, so I'm thinking about doing a test wash. I would like to get this machine done today, and maybe I'll move one of them in and make a video of one of the other ones as well. But if this auto clean thing works, I've got some good bubbles in there. I don't know if you can see them. There isn't very much to see in a washing machine. Doesn't stop people wanting to, however. Yeah, if I can move on to another washing machine today, I will. That'd be cool. But as it comes, going back to selling the machine, I'm not a big fan of selling machines. I'm not a big fan of selling things that generally. You become a salesperson, and that's a fine job to do. But if people have an issue with something like a washing machine, you know, it's a big purchase. It seems being one of these big things, and even it doesn't really matter what price you're charging. People expect a lot of different components to work, and to work for some period of time. So this machine has, you know, water in, water out, spin, motors and controls and whatnot in there. The dishwasher tablet I can just see on top is about half the size that it started, so it's not getting worn away quite as quickly as I thought there. But going back to selling it, it's a chore. It's a chore to sell it. It's a chore to meet people. It's a chore to show them the washing machine. It's a chore to deal with questions about will you deliver it, etc., etc. I have sold washing machines in the past, like one or two. Maybe not even one a year. I wouldn't tally with one or two. I haven't sold very many washing machines, is where I'm going with this. But bizarrely, actually, I sold one. There was a Candy that had a board fault years ago. I sold that, explained what had happened and how it had been fixed, and the guy was a taxi driver, and one day he just turned up outside my house and told me the machine was broken, and I was like, I don't know if I really want to be dealing with a returned washing machine 6 months later or whatever it was. No, he wanted to buy another one, and I was like, but buddy, I'm not a washing machine shop. Can you fix it? I said, well, I'm not really a repair shop either, you know. So this is the kind of thing I don't want in my life. I'd rather have a broken washing machine and smash it for fun, or if I have a working one, I'd rather give it to a mate. And I've done that quite a few times. I've given machines away, or I've sold machines to mates if they're too good. Typically, it's if people want to pay for them more than if I want money for them, because I don't, you know, 50 quid for a washing machine or a tumble dryer is not going to make me rich. But if I can give somebody, like that meal outside, that was with mates for 2 years or more. I don't know if I paid for it, and if I did, it wasn't very much. It could have been 99p, it could have been 10 quid, some price like that. They've had it for 2 years and used it for washing. That's worth more to me than getting 50 quid out of them. And I've got the machine back, so I can make another video about it now. And that's, you know, that's my hobby. That'll keep me going, thinking about what's wrong with it? How can I fix it? Can I fix it for free as well? Like today, the repair, 2 washers that I had in the garage and a piece of bicycle tube that I also had in the garage in my supply of bits of crap. The mounting plate to buy would be a slightly different shape, longer, spread the load out probably along those cracks. And I don't know if it comes with a piece of rubber or not. I think you might have to drill holes to screw it on as well and stuff like that, which is fine, completely doable. Just lie the machine on its side, you'd be in 10 minutes. It's not a big job. But if you can do it for free, well, you know, so much the better. And really, like, I'm interested in fixing things. I'm interested in not paying for stuff. And that sounds like, you know, miserliness or ultimate thrift or one of these kind of things. But it's more about a kind of a lack of reliance on the system. That sounds a bit cryptic. I like to be able to rely on myself, I think is where we're putting this. I like to be able to fix things if they break. I don't want to have to, you know, spend £120 or whatever it would cost for a washing machine PCB. I would rather get another machine for 5 or 10 quid that I can fix in a different way, or get one for free like this one off the street, which has a repair that doesn't really need to be done. The Samsung in the cellar, it is a Samsung, the one with the ad wash door. There was nothing wrong with it, it just worked, but it leaked out the door. I could have bunged a different door on it, but I chose to spend a few hours basically gobbing a load of silicone around the door. And for me, that was a really good hobby. A good learning experience, taking it apart in the ways that plastics are clicked together and the nonsense that designers have to make things make seams and to make joints completely invisible. That is heating up a bit. I'd say 30 degrees at the moment, using my calibrated back of hand to guess at how hot it is. But yeah, I got more out of doing that Samsung than I could get from working for the same amount of money to buy a new Samsung, or even like to get a replacement door. I think was into the big money. I think at that point I was able to get a replacement plastic part from China, from AliExpress or somewhere like that, and it was still going to be 20 quid. So a bottle of silicone that I had, two half bottles that were left over in the garage from other jobs, fixed it, you know. And that's far more satisfying. And that machine's been on the go now for at least, well, maybe the best part of a year, if not more than a year. It works away, it washes laundry, it does all of our daily washing, and then the Bosch WFP 3300 does the nappy washes. On a sideline, somebody has asked if I would demonstrate what I've got down in the cellar and show what laundry powder I use. Well, perhaps I will someday. Today's not the day for that. Not this video, leastways. But yes, fixing them is satisfying. Fixing things is satisfying, and living without the need to spend money for things is quite satisfying. You know, if you've got a mate who could do a bit of sewing for you, well, help them out with something else and they'll put some stitches and things, or you know, modify some clothing for you to make it your own, that kind of thing. And that's how I try to roll. I've also got a few mates who also are into finding stuff, so if there's a general call, you know, if I need something or if they need something, well, I've got so many bits and bobs lying around, and so have they, that if, you know, we rarely need something that we'd have to go out and buy it. And the other thing then that comes with that is patience. You know, if you have either resilience or yeah, resilience is the word, or patience, you can kind of get by. So one of the so two washing machines in the cellar means that if one breaks, I'm never going to be stuck for a washing machine. At the moment, this week, I've put up 3 more solar panels. They were broken. I've put them up as an experiment. They're just on a bit of a lean-to at the side of the house. But they need a bit of guttering to stop the water dripping everywhere. And I haven't got any at the moment. And a new length of guttering would be 7 or 8 quid. And I'd need 2 of them. And that's 14 quid. And, you know, I haven't got it in my pocket right now, but I could lay my hands on 14 quid very easily. But I just don't want to buy new guttering, because around where I live, I know that somebody will be getting their roof done, and they'll be getting new gutters and fascias with it, and I'll see it in a skip in the next week or 2. Possibly even today if I go out for a walk. Went out for a walk yesterday, didn't see any. Actually, that's not true. I did see a bit. Beside a skip, it was the offcuts, and I knocked on the door of a piece of guttering. I knocked on the door of the house, and the lady of the house came out, and I asked her, and she said the builders are coming to tidy all that stuff up tomorrow. And because it wasn't in the skip, she wouldn't let me have it. It wouldn't have finished the job for me, but it was about 2 meters of guttering, brand new. Builders are going to throw that into the skip, or they're going to take it away and throw it into a different skip. I can't see a builder holding on to 2 meters of black guttering. I could be wrong. If they're a builder like me, they probably would. And I'm not a builder, but if they're like me and a builder, they maybe would. But I feel like I'm rambling, so I'm going to come back to this wash whenever it does something more interesting, like the first drain out, or if it starts ticking. But at the moment, I haven't heard any ticking. We can have a look up on top. Let's have a look in the top just for a few minutes. You can see the drum wobbling, but with the top off and the back off, I should be better able to hear any ticking that's going on, and I really can't. So it's a bit of a success so far, I would say. We're down to 53 minutes, which means I've been rambling for about 17 minutes, if the machine's clock is anything to go by. Yeah. I'll see you soon. So right now it's at 43, which means it's been on for, what, 27 minutes, something like that, and it's getting too hot to touch, which is good. I can hear it boiling actually. There's a kind of a hissing sound every time it stops. And even when it isn't stopping, you can hear it when it stops. So I put the microphone in there, but difficult to hear it. But the water is brown in there, which I don't think has come from the laundry. It could have done a bit, but there's very little water in it, and it is quite brown. So it will be interesting when it rinses out to see what it looks like. 42 minutes to go. Stay tuned. Very strange. It got another 5 or 10 minutes in. What would that be, down to 40, 30 something maybe? And stopped, and I wasn't paying attention, but it did its drain out. I'll show you some of this. It's almost too hot to hold, but some beautiful brown, very brown water. little bit of sand in the bottom, but nothing major. F08, still hot. The machine's still hot. I don't know what F08 is. I could look it up. I think I will. And let's try turning it off. Oh, just pressing the power button reset it. Let's just have a look for what F08 means. I can do that offline. Most interesting, F08, according to the first answer on White Goods Help or one of those websites, is heater relay stuck. And that was a 2022 article, so it should be about right for this machine. Heater relay stuck, and it says the relay's on the PCB at the back, and if it is, you might tap it or whatever. I'm just going to give this a rinse and spin, because if the relay's stuck on, it just isn't going to work. What? 55 minutes for a rinse and spin? Highly unlikely. Let's find out if that is so. So it did dirty water out. It's not finished its cycle. The relay could have been stuck on, I guess. Could still be. It's unlikely to be stuck on if... Yeah, it is quite unlikely to be stuck on if it's taken a fill now of cold, because it would just abort, like it would be trying to boil the whole time. Yeah, it's unlikely to have the relay stuck if it's going to go into a rinse and spin. I cannot see how a rinse and spin is 55 minutes long. But, I don't know, prove me wrong, machine. I'll leave it to run. It's putting in a bit more water, I think, than it did last time. I don't know if you can see that. It's pretty dark in there. Wow, and even the water that is coming in is getting pretty dirty already, which is kind of good. There was a pair of dirty gloves in there. That might account for some of the dirt, but not too much of it. It'll let it rinse out, and I'll come back to it, I guess, if I hear any ticking. That's why we're here. Didn't hear any ticking on it before, just to the point I didn't even notice it. Let's see what happens. So it's down to 36 minutes and it is pumping away. It's pretty much done pumping out, really. Cleaner water than last time, I would say. But I don't really think that it was turning for, what would that be, 34 minutes, the rinse. So it might have gone a bit faster, given that it's only got very little laundry in it. The pump is rattling away. I can hear the laundry slapping, but I can't hear any ticking. I haven't heard any ticking from this machine. I've not been looking for it, or, you know, listening too hard for it, but I know it's there, it's banana, and I haven't heard it. Let's see if it'll go up to a spin. Stop pumping. Let's see if it'll get up to a spin and how that'll go. I'm trying to make it tick. I can't hear anything. I might have solved the problem with a couple of washers, you know. That F08 error is a bit concerning, though. You see, this goes back to what I was saying about selling stuff. If I sold that to somebody and they thought, oh, I'll give it a drum clean because, you know, I don't know where it came from, or a service clean or whatever it was called. It wasn't called a service clean. I can't remember what it was called. If they thought, I'll do that now, well, they'd be disappointed, wouldn't they? You know, getting an error code up straight away, and they're not going to check the internet, although they might, but they're probably going to ring me. I don't want to be the one who's answering the phone. You know, that's life. Don't hear any ticking. Is it going to spin? Yeah, I don't want trouble, and you're courting trouble if you're selling second-hand appliances, I reckon. And it's even if, you know, 90%, 95%, 1 in 20 are good. I don't want... It sounds like I've been bitten. I don't know, like I told you my taxi driver story, I don't know that I have really been bitten by it. I've had pretty good luck, really, but I just don't want the hassle. You hear the horror shows, anecdotes. I think it's trying to balance a load for a spin, but there's such a little load in it that it's getting confused, I believe. It's the beginning of a spin. Can't hear it ticking. There's other noises that I'm making in the background. I'm using a screwdriver at the moment, off camera. It's not really going anywhere, is it? You can hear wobbling, but I can't hear ticking. Quite pleased with the... Well, I've solved one problem and identified another, perhaps. It sounds unbalanced. I'll try and get the microphone in there. It stopped again. Stand over it with the microphone. Maybe you can't hear me now. There's the ticking. I can hear it that time. But I haven't seen what it's from. I'm not going to worry about it. Yeah, so we heard some ticking there, which is just said I'd solved that problem, and there it is, right back at me. It's going for it. It's spinning, but it's not pumping as it spins, bizarrely. Maybe that's not bizarre. I don't know. Maybe it's not bizarre at all. Okay, if it ever does anything, I'll come back to it. So 30 minutes to roll. It's spinning. It's done a little bit of a drain out of more brown water. It's very hard to imagine how it can do a 30-minute wash in 30 minutes or a full load 45-minute wash, but a rinse and spin takes an hour and 10 minutes. That's quite bizarre to me. It doesn't sound like it's ticking. I don't know what's going on. I need to run it on a 90-degree wash, I think, or another one of those surface washes and see if it'll do it. Maybe it's a job to do that off camera, or maybe it's a job just to do it as a full wash without talking over it. Talking's a bit of work, really, I've got to say. Some would say it comes easy to me. I think what it is standing by the washing machine keeping an eye on it's a lot of work. I can go off and do other things if I just leave it here to trundle away. Maybe that's the plan. 30 minutes, come on, 30 minutes. It's not really ticking though. At 28 minutes it's doing another rinse, it's filling up again, so it'll be another rinse and probably another spin. I think I'll come back at the end. This video's plainly long enough, unless I get an error code or something more interesting along the way. I'll put my microphone in here, clicked to the top. I've got the microphone up here, inside at the top, on the side. So it's been attempting to do a load balance for 10 minutes, I'd say. Stuck on 14 and it's just decided against it and jumped on to do what I've been told by others is a kind of a lower speed spin. So I'm hoping this will be the end of it because I'm dearly fed up with it right now. It's been a long day. A bit of a drain out. Still has 14 minutes. I'm hoping it'll jump down to less than 14 minutes. 13, there we go. Oh, it's just going for it. I can't hear any ticking. Can I? Not really. Sounds okay to me, but we've been through this a few times now. I'm kind of in the point where I don't know if this machine is working or not. Right, I'm not going to wait here the whole time. I'll come back at the end. In fact, I won't. I'll wrap it up now because I've had enough. I'll do another wash on it another day, perhaps. But for today, I'm going to put the lid back on, put the back on it, and take it outside. It seems to be working. it had that error relay, but it just was okay when it started again. So a sticky relay, you can tap them sometimes. I know all about them from solar panels, and have a look at my solar panel solar inverter relay repair videos, because they're really easy. Just a little contactor inside. With this one anyways, I'm hoping it's not that, but I wonder, has this machine had a new drum inside a year ago, or less than a year ago? It's a 3-year-old machine with a 1-year-old drum, maybe, and then they just thought, oh, it's giving me errors again, we're not going to chase ourselves, we're going to get out of town. Or maybe that's what Hotpoint does. Maybe Hotpoint gets rid of things whenever it thinks it was in its 10-year warranty. They did a warranty repair on the drum and tub, because it's a whole combination unit, which is basically the whole machine. And said, no, we're not throwing good money after bad, here's a voucher to buy a new one, or here's a new one, similar spec. I don't know. Tell me what you think in the comments. Tell me anything else you can about what I've been talking about today in this machine. Other than that, thanks for watching. See you later.